Hello loves and welcome to today's video. We are wrapping up the end of the year, so it's time for those end of year lists. The first one I'm going to do for you today are all of the books that I DNF'd in 2024. I DNF'd 11 books. I'm only going to talk about 10 of them in this video though, because one of them was a soft DNF. The other 10 were hard DNFs. I am never going back to them. The first one was Far Cry by Alyssa York. This is about small communities in 1922 British Columbia and some like Swedish lumberjack guy and an 18-year-old who's running away from home. I gave up on this book at 12% because it was just too Canadian, which is a joke between me and my sibling that if things feel really Canadian, particularly around music, I don't like them. This was the book version of too Canadian for me. It just small town, they were like canoeing. It was the 20s, which is not an era I'm particularly interested in. I just was pretty bored with this. It reminded me of books I was forced to read in elementary school. Not for me. The second book I DNF'd in the year was The Story of Us by Catherine Hernandez. This is about a family where they are originally from the Philippines and then they emigrate to Canada, and I did not get anywhere close to what the actual plot was when I was reading this. I DNF'd at 8% because the story was being told from the perspective of the fetus inside the womb of the main character, and that wigged me out so much I just couldn't continue. It was weird. It was so weird. It was like the fetus was also like conscious while it was an egg before it was even fertilized, and just, oh my god, it could not, did not interest me in the least because of that specific narrative device. Next we have The Plumed Serpent by D.H. Lawrence. This is a classic novel of the Quetzalcoatl, I think. It's about this like white woman who is now living in Mexico, and she goes on an expedition and I think people die. I got 24% of the way into this, and the way it was written really seemed like it wanted me to sympathize with the white colonizers, the rich white people who moved down to Mexico and then complain about Mexican culture. Oh, their food is so weird. Oh, they can't speak English. I'm not on your side here. I am rooting for the Quetzalcoatl to kill you, and I just could not continue from there. The next book is Island Time by Georgia Clark. This is a romance novel, I think, about this family who's on vacation on an island, and then a hurricane or a tsunami hits, and they have to bond through this happening. And I, based on the cover, thought this was going to be lighthearted romance, and then they're hit by a tsunami on an island, and I was just not in the mood for something that had a serious topic. I was coming off of reading House of Leaves. I wanted something light and fun. I just felt I wasn't gonna get that from this book, so I DNF'd at 16%. Next, little scandalous, I DNF'd Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. This was the point where I gave up on the Discworld series. I got like 46% of the way in, and I just was regretting having to pick it up, dreading it, was not enjoying my time, was not enjoying the characters, and given that it is like the 11th book in this series, I have given this series so many chances, so many, well wait, maybe it might get good later, and I think someone in my comments said Small Gods was one of the best, it was their favorite, and the fact that I wasn't digging it just kind of sunk in that Discworld and Terry Pratchett might not be for me. So I DNF Small Gods at 46% and have decided I'm not going to continue the Discworld series. Next is Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. This is about like an apocalyptic future where men are subject to some kind of plague, so they try to like limit the testosterone in people, and then you have a community of trans people who are killing men to harvest their testosterone. DNF this at 23%. I did like how well described the use of the compound bows were. I don't shoot compound, I shoot recurve, but they did go into quite good detail about the use of bows, which I enjoy, but then some of the like explanations of hormones and how that applies to people who are trans just came off really heavy-handed to me. I just was not enjoying that as a writing style. It was swinging from like trans 101 to like gruesome descriptions of things, and just whew, whiplash between those two things didn't meld well in my opinion, so I DNF'd that one. Next is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. This one I DNF'd at 47%. I just couldn't get on board with the concept with this one. I was enjoying the idea of how someone becomes a slasher, but the pacing was just so slow that I couldn't get into this one. And then I believe this was one of the picks from Kayla Books and Lala Literally Dead Book Club. And I watched that live show, and like several people on it were like, I wish I had DNF'd it. I continued with it and I don't think it paid off. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I will be the one who actually doesn't finish it and doesn't feel like I wasted my time. So I Was a Teenage Slasher, DNF'd. Next is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I DNF'd this at 27%. I was listening to this as an audiobook and I could not keep the timelines straight. At 27%, I realized I had no idea what had happened, like at all, what the mystery was, who any of the people were, and clearly I wasn't enjoying it enough if I wasn't retaining that information, so I did decide to DNF it, even though I know it has very high ratings. I think it was nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards for sure. It might have even won that category, but it wasn't for me. I wasn't absorbed by the mystery. Next is Running Close to the Wind by Alexandra Rowland. I DNF'd this one at 47%. This is a fantasy novel about some man who managed to steal some very important government secrets, and he has to collaborate with some pirates to find a buyer for the secrets because I think he has debts and he's trying to pay them off, something like that. I found the main character so insufferably horny. It just, every character they encountered, they tried to hit on, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, and it just got so exhausting to read. I was like, can we get some plot that's not just this guy hitting on everyone and people are charmed by it? And I'm like, no, this guy is annoying. Could not stand the main character, didn't want to read it anymore. DNF'd at 47%. And the last, most recent book that I DNF'd was Feast While You Can by Anjuli Dutta and Michaela Clemens. This is about a lesbian who lives in a small town, and she's like always trying to promote other lesbians to move to this small town. And then I think she's found by an eldritch horror, basically. I could not connect with the main character of this one because I found it so unrelatable to be a queer person who loves their small town so much. Couldn't be me. Grew up in a small town, would not want to go back. Hated it. I suspend my disbelief for a lot of things. That one, couldn't. So I DNF'd that at 30%. Those are all of the books that I DNF'd in 2024. What are your books that you DNF? Do you think that any of these books I should give a second chance and more undivided focus, or maybe in a different format? Let me know in the comments down below, or just leave the palm tree emoji for island time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.